fabric. So a few words to that. Of course, you have a layout plan in your ebook, but the main thing is that the back has to be cut on the fold, and you need 2 front pieces, mirror image. That's the important thing. I'm working on a width of 140, which is smaller than what you actually get. Usually jerseys are 1.50 m wide. But in this case, I'd washed it and it shrunk quite a bit. So I needed to place them slightly different. And then you put your fabric weights on, and you should get into the habit of cutting from the left-hand side when you're cutting out. It's way easier and you have more control. And there we go, we've got our back cut on the fold, and the same applies now to the front. One thing though that you need to make sure that you do is cut the dart away completely. So we're not leaving the dart standing, we're cutting it away. There we go. It's much easier because you don't have to mark the dart, and all we're going to do later is overlock it, and that's how it's going to look. So now I have taken off some of the top because I'm cutting a size 12, so I need to add that to the hem of the skirt. So I mark it, or you could just, if you are good enough at your sewing, you can just use scissor and cut it out holding your tape measure as you go. In this case, I just want to show you that, you know, you should mark it. It's beautiful. And I'm cutting all the way around. Now, as you see blended in here, the lovely Frida, who tested this dress as well, she actually forgot to do this, and so she had a shorter layer, and as you can see, she just added a longer layer and then worked with 2 layers, and it's actually very pretty like that. So you can do that, cut one shorter and then cut one longer and put both skirts together and work them as one. And here you can see that I've just put the skirt over onto the other edge of the fabric instead of using the paper pattern again, which is easy enough if you have a very stable knit, then you don't need to mark anything. Next, we're going to cut our binding. The binding needs to be 4 centimeters wide. So first of all, fold it all over so you get a really nice straight line there, and then you draw a line down so you can cut away where it's a bit wibbly wobbly, like I'm doing here, and then you can mark it again, those 4 centimeters. It depends, of course, how you want to use it. If you want to use it for binding like I do, 4 centimeters is pretty good. You could go for 3.5 as well, then it would be slightly slimmer binding. Or you could even go for 3 centimeters, for example, if you wanted to make the binding visible, as I've done in the dress that I showed you in the introduction, the green one with a dark blue. I made my binding 4 centimeters, but actually I think it would have looked nicer if the binding had been just that little bit thinner. There we go. Draw it down, and then you can cut that, and that way you get some lovely long strips, and they're all going to be the same width and they're going to work perfectly. Again, I hold it with my left hand, that fabric, and I'm cutting, working my way from the left to the right. Next one. Beautiful. And that's it. We've cut everything out, and we can now start preparing our binding in the next chapter. See you there.